Hello and welcome. Today we're doing a question from LeetCode called a maximum product subarray. It's a medium. We're going to jump right into it. Given an integer array nums, find a subarray that has the largest product and return the product. Example 1, we have 2, 3, negative 2, 4, and 2, 3 would give us the max product of 6, so that is what we output. And example 2, we have negative 2, 0, negative 1. Here we output 0. We can't put negative 2 and negative 1 as a subarray because they're not connected. We have the 0 in the middle, so that's not a valid subarray. And we have some constraints down here. Okay, so this is actually a pretty fun problem. We want to find a subarray with the max product and return that subarray. Before jumping in, what is a subarray? A subarray is a contiguous part of an array. So we can't take chunks from different parts of an array and put it together. It has to be connected. And out of all the possible subarrays, we want to find the one with the maximum product. Now, we've done a maximum subarray before, and I've linked that down below if you want to give that a quick watch and try this again. It's very similar logic. But here, we want to find the one with the maximum product. So how are we going to do that? Well, say I had the following example, 2, 3, negative 2, 4. This is the same as example 1 over here. One way to approach this would be to just brute force it. So I would make all possible subarrays and see which one would give me the maximum product. So if I were to make all possible subarrays, I would have the following: the one with just 2, then at 3 I expand the one from before or start over, and at negative 2 I do the same, I expand the previous one, start over, and same with 4. So these are all my possible subarrays, and once calculating the product, I would find that 2, 3 would give me the max of 6. Now, when solving for the maximum product subarray, what's stopping us from including every single number? The more numbers I have, the bigger my product, right? That's not always going to be true. Our product would actually go down if we run into negatives or zeros. So instead, what I'm going to do is at every single index, see if the maximum product I can make is either expanding my previous subarray or starting over at my own index. What I mean by that, at the first index, the maximum product I can make is 2. So right now, my max product is 2. Now, once I get to 3, is it better for me to start over a new subarray, or is it better for me to expand from my previous one? It's better for me to expand from my previous one, so adding 3 to my 2, because this way my max product becomes 6. Once I get to negative 2, what's the max product I can make here? If I were to expand the one from previously, I would have 2, 3, negative 2, which would give me negative 12. It's better for me to start over at negative 2. And once I get to 4, is it better for me to continue the one from before or start over? And again, we can only look at the previous index. We can't put together things on the other ends, right? So is it better for me to continue here or start over? It would be better for me to start over at 4. And once I go through, I can see my max product was 6. But what if I had the following input? What if I had negative 5 at the very end of my array? Well, now I have 2 negatives, and my max product would actually be this array over here, 2, 3, negative 2, 4, and negative 5, giving me an output of 240, which is of course bigger than 6. But if I apply that same logic, once I got to negative 5, I would see it's better for me to start over for the max product at this index, and I would never actually get to this 240. So instead, what I'm going to do is not only keep track of my maximum product, I'm also going to keep track of my minimum product. And that's because if I have a bigger negative, once I multiply that with a negative number, I'll get a bigger positive, right? So I want to keep track of both my maximum and my minimum. So if I were to do that, at the first index, my maximum would be 2, and my minimum would also be 2. Once I get to 3, at this index, what subarray would give me the maximum and minimum? The maximum here would be, of course, to continue from before, so 2 and 3, and the minimum would be to start over at 3. Now, once I get to negative 2, the maximum subarray I can make would be negative 2, and the minimum here would be to take my previous 2, 3 and expand that to include negative 2 to get the product of 6 times negative 2, which would be negative 12. So here I would do 2, 3, negative 2. This is my minimum product I can make at this index. Once I get to 4, the maximum product would still be 4. I can't expand either of these two, the max or min from before, to get a bigger maximum than just starting over. But my minimum would be greater if I added a 4 to this subarray. So 2, 3, -2, and 4. Now, once I get to -5, the maximum product would be to take this previous minimum array and expand that by including a -5. So 2, 3, -2, 4, -5. This would be my max product at 240. And the minimum here, it would actually be better for me to expand 4. So it'd be 4, -5 to give me -20, as opposed to starting over just at -5. So what we're doing is dynamic programming, but we're keeping track of both our maximum and minimum values because we're dealing with negatives. So if we keep track of both of these, we would eventually find the maximum product. We're going to get it either by starting over and making a new subarray at the index we're on, or continuing from either our previous max or our previous min subarray. So let's write this out and then run through a couple examples. Okay, to code this up, I'm going to start off with my minimum and maximum products at every single index. So our min product and our max product are going to be that very first number we have. So it's going to be nums of 0. And our overall maximum product that we're going to return at the end is going to be that first number as well. So max p right here. Now we want to iterate through the rest of our array. So for num in nums, and I'm going to continue after that first index we've just covered. We want to check what the min and max at each index is going to be. So at this number that I am on, the minimum product is going to be the minimum of starting over at the number I'm on, or the number I'm on times the previous minimum or maximum. So number times min p, or number times max p. And that's going to be our new minimum. And we want to do the same for the max product. The max product is going to be the max between starting over or expanding either our previous min or our previous max. So num times min p. And we've actually rewritten the value of min p here. So I'm going to store the original min p value in a temporary variable. So minimum product. So I'm going to reuse temporary in here, or the num times maximum p. And if the maximum product is greater than the maximum product we're holding so far, overall, I'm just going to go ahead and make an update. So maximum product would be the max we're getting at this index versus what we have been storing so far. So maximum product. And in the end, all we have to do is return maximum product. So let's go ahead and run this code. Runtime error. Oh, I forgot to set these all equal to each other. Okay, this should work. Accepted, and now we can go ahead and submit this. And it is accepted as well. So before leaving, let's just run through a super quick example. Okay, say I had the following example as my input nums, -2, -12, -4, and 20. Going through this just line by line, we have the minimum product set to that first number, same with maximum product, and our overall maximum product is set to the same as well. Now we're going to be iterating through, so our nums starts after that first index, and we're going to store in temp our current minimum, which is -2. Now our new minimum value is going to be the minimum of the number that we are on right now, so it's going to be -12 versus our number times the min or the max. So -12 times -2 is 24, and -12 times -2 is still 24. And our minimum here would be to start over at this subarray, so it's going to be -12. And our max p, we're doing basically the same thing. We're comparing our numbers, but now we want to find the max between these numbers, and the max is going to be 24. So we're going to go ahead and update the maximum product right now because max p is greater than what we have in maximum product right now. So updating this, we have 24 as our maximum product so far. we go back in this loop and we're at -4 now. So we store our minimum value in temporary. So this is going to be -12. And now we want to compare between our current number, so -4, and our current number times the minimum and maximum. So the minimum is -12, so 48, and -4 times our current max, which is -96. So what is the minimum over here? That's going to be -96. And what is the maximum over here going to be? Again, we're just comparing the same values. So the max here is going to be 48, and we would go ahead and update this maximum product. 48 as my maximum product over here, and this is going to be the subarray right here. And we're going to be going back into this loop. So now the first thing we are going to do is store the minimum value in temps. And we make the checks again. So now we're comparing 20. We're comparing our number times the minimum we've stored. So 20 times -96, I should have chosen smaller numbers, but this is going to be -1920. And 48 times 20, so that's going to be 960. Okay, the minimum here is, of course, -1920. The max is 960, and we would update the maximum product again to be 960. So that is what we would end up outputting. It's going to be this subarray right here for our answer. Now, talking about space and time complexity, for time, we're just going through our entire array once, so that's a linear scan O of n. And for space, we only keep track of 2 variables, so that's going to be constant O of 1 for space. So we just went ahead and solved maximum product subarray. If you have any questions at all, let me know down below. Otherwise, if you like this video, like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next one.